श्री गुरु गंगाधर गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जाय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरन मोहन जू की जाय। नित्यालल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशुतर शत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय। नित्यालल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशुतर शत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशुतर शत शिशुमार भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशुतर शत शिशुमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशुतर शत शिशुमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गौर किशोरदास बाबा जी महाराज की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जाय। नित्याल प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जाय। श्री रूपानुग गौरी गुरु वर्ग की जाय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट दास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जाय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जाय। नाम चय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रजमंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंद श्याम कुंद की जाय। श्री मुन देवी गंग देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। जय Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada's all of his periodicals ki jai. Shri Dainik Nadīyā Prakāśa ki jai. The head editor, writer, and everything for Dainik Nadīyā Prakāśa, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. Before we begin, I think it'd be nice to do a little Mangala Charan. Just a short Mangala Charan. Okay. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Kodiya Gurvanvaye Bhato Bhanuriva Prabhata Gagane Yogora Sankirtanai Maya Bharati Mingilo Daragatan Udhritya Jivan Niman Krishna Prema Sudabdi Gahana Sukham Pradat Prabhung Tang Bhaje. This is written by Srila Bhakti Prakāśa Goswami, as well as this verse. Vande Bhakti Vinodang Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastra Samrajam Radha Rasa Sudha Nidhim Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina iti vigyaya devi tvam nayamang charanantikam bhaktya vihina aparada lakshay kshiptashtakamaditaranga madhe kripa mai tvam sharanam prapanna vrinde namaste charanaravindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Dandavat. Pranams, everybody. Pranams to who's all there. Śrīvāsa Prabhu, pranams. And
Oh,
Shri Devi, Haribo. And then Shri Devi, Didi, Sarveshwari, Mataji, Madhavendra Puri Prabhu, Bal Kishan, Archana Didi. And on YouTube and Facebook, there's Amit Dandekar and a few other devotees. And of our Shripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj, who's with us right now. All right. Oh, so we have a special darshan. Um, 1 second. I'm gonna hand it over to Shrivas now. 1 second. Let me just replace this pin. If I talk, it shows my face. 1 second. Let me just wait. How do I do this? Give me 1 second. Wait, Shrivas, I need to make you spotlight there. Okay. Wait, can you show it again? Because it might have been showing my face. Yeah, there. The world's first Pushpa Samadhi Mandir of His Divine Grace Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. It's installed in the year 2011. Jai Ho. Can anyone guess where this is? Jai Shri Gurudev Ki Jai. Jai Ho. Wow. Jai Shri Gurudev
and
Ki Jai.
under a beautiful neem tree
Oh,
and lots
wow.
of
What's that? Lots of what?
banana trees.
Oh, yes, that's very auspicious. So Shrivas just yesterday arrived in Malaysia. And so
Yeah,
yeah.
beautiful little temple here. Yeah, it's pretty quiet, but it's beautiful little temple. Really nice devotees coming. Maybe I'll show Thakurji later.
What's that saying? Oh, Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay. Nice.
Yeah,
Great.
and I couldn't
Awesome.
believe the rain here yesterday. Just torrential downpour. So this place is so lush.
Wow. Very
It's
similar to Navadip weather, huh? Is
Yeah,
it
but I
like
swear the rain is heavier than Navadvip. Way
oh,
heavier.
wow. Maharaj is asking, are you in Kuala Lumpur?
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
with Balakrishna Prabhu, Vijay Krishna Prabhu. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, so now we are beginning our eighth session of going through these articles of Dainik Nadīyā Prakāśa. When was this one? This one is in March. What was it?
March 16th, 1928.
March 16th, 1928. Great. So Shivas, would you like to start?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I
Right.
need to I keep on forgetting to do this. I'm making okay, now you can share your screen. Sorry.
All right, number 15.
Oh, and
And you mentioned that these are continuations. A lot of the articles are continuations in this issue
I
from the
think
previous,
everyone except for the last one, right?
and maybe the
Or,
beginning, the first one.
oh, I missed that. Oops, I forgot to put that on the graphic. Oh my God. I'm so spaced out. Anyways. All right.
Ahimsa, Paramo Dharma. Is it really loud here? Because I'm right by the road. Maybe I should go back
Nope.
inside.
Nope. There's no background noise at all. You can.
Okay. All right, good.
Oh,
Okay,
and
so
one thing, everybody, if I think it's good to mention at the beginning and end, all these articles that we're reading are available on nadiyaprakāsh.com. And Prakāsh is spelt, it's an SH at the end. So Prakash, nadiyaprakāsh.com. Yeah, and Sarveshwari Mataji, he will zoom in. Yeah. Okay. All right, Shivas, take it away.
all right. Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Jayataha. 3rd of Caitra, Friday, 1334, or March 16th, 1928. Ahimsa paramo dharma, which translates to nonviolence is the supreme dharma. In ancient times, the Karma Kandiya. Yes.
So Sarveshwari Mataji is asking if you could zoom in so that they could read the text. They could read along.
Oh, right. Yes, of course. In ancient times, the Karma Kandiya priests, becoming selfish, used to slaughter animals in various yagyas and rituals that were geared toward their own sense gratification. Their belief was that since there are allowances in scripture for the slaughter of animals, then animal slaughter can never be called a crime or sinful activity. Many still believe this today. It is true that there are certain rituals in scripture that entail the killing of animals, but it is our duty to understand why these rituals were introduced. First, it is important to recognize that the authors of scripture were not cruel. They had a truly egalitarian outlook. Their composition of scripture was for the welfare of living entities, so it was never cruelty they condoned when prescribing certain specific rituals involving the killing of animals. Now we should see what the purpose of the rituals were. Srimad Bhagavatam, which as a whole is a determination of the true purport of the Vedas, says, the conditioned soul bound by Maya naturally has a desire to satisfy the senses by enjoying with the opposite sex, partaking of intoxication, and killing animals. So these are not things the scripture is actively trying to promote. In order to restrain, I think I need that there. In order to restrain these proclivities, scripture prescribes giving up wanton, illicit sexuality and instead forming a lawful relationship with the opposite sex. Animal slaughter is prescribed for certain specific yagyas, as is the ritual inhalation of the scent of liquor. Oh, okay, no, that's the full quote. Now look, scripture is only trying to restrain our natural proclivity for violence. But we take the words of scripture to mean the opposite. We use the scriptures as excuses to enjoy our senses. The Yuga Dharma during Treta Yuga was yagya. In those times, worship of Bhagavan was performed by Ashvamedha, a horse sacrifice, and Gomedha. The rishi
Śrīvāsa, the internet.
Were so empowered and rejuvenated. However, now,
the internet just went slow for a second. Could you just reread that section? The rishis of those times were so.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rishis of those times were so empowered that they could kill the sacrificial animal and rejuvenate it. However, now is Kali Yuga. The dharma for this age is only Nam Sankirtan. We have deviated from religious practice and lost our spiritual prowess. Every intelligent person can understand to what extent it is proper to leave aside our Yuga Dharma and strive for yagya, vrata, tapasya, yoga, and other pursuits, and imitate the rishis of old. To liberate the living entities from entanglement in such violent activities, Buddhadev, Bhagavan's Shaktyavesh avatar, incarnated roughly 3,000 years ago and preached the religious principles expressed in the Vedic statement, Ma hingsat sarvani bhutani, do not inflict violence unto any living being. However, succeeding generations of Buddha's followers could not understand the full purport of his teachings and became opposed to the Vedas. Anyhow, the proper purport of the Vedic statement preached by Buddhadev is recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam as follows. Ahastani sahastanam apadani chatushpadam Phalguni tatra mahatam jivo jivasya jivanam. In other words, in this violent world, living beings are situated in cycles of mutual violence. Owing to the results of time and actions, the animals who do not have hands are fit to be killed by the humans who do have hands. The grasses, which do not have feet, are eaten by the four-legged creatures. Larger creatures survive by eating smaller creatures. There is no way to survive on this earth but through violence. The living entities entrenched in this himsa dharma, or cycle of violence, spend their lives quarreling, killing, and decimating each other. The living entities can only be free of the cycles of violence by situating themselves in the service of Hari. There is no other way to gain deliverance from violence. Those who follow the Jains and are vegetarians think themselves to be non-violent, but they have not actually escaped himsa dharma. Down with the vegans. Service to Bhagavan is the sole objective of ahimsa parama dharma, supreme religion of non-violence. You are not superior to anybody, vegans. Paraśamaṇi continued from the previous issue. So this story left off in the previous issue with the Brahmin from Bardhaman named Jivan Mishra being very poor and worshipping Lord Shiva until he was fasting for about 3 days, not eating, not sleeping, until he kind of fell asleep a little bit, and Lord Shiva appeared to him and told him to go to Braj to see Sanatana Goswami Pad. So now we're picking up the story there. The Brahmin was very satisfied with this direction of Lord Shiva, and without delay traveled to Brajadham, nurturing great hopes in his heart, quietly tolerating all the troubles along the way. The Vipra Jivan finally arrived in Vrindavan at the feet of the greatly renounced Nishkinchan Paramahamsa Srila Sanatana Goswami, and, bowing before him, communicated his intentions. Srila Sanatana said, "I am a sannyasi who dwells at the base of trees, lives only on begged alms, and wears nothing but a loincloth. Where am I supposed to obtain such wealth as to deliver you from poverty? You have come to me by mistake." Hearing this, the Brahmin was rather upset. As he started back, he was thinking, I'm so ill-fated that even Ashutosh cheated me. What is the point of carrying on in this spurned, worthless life? He began thinking he would immediately go to the Jamuna, and when no one was looking, just give up his life in its depths. As the Brahmin was immersed in this ocean of woe, Srila Sanatana Goswami suddenly remembered something that had happened a few months back. He immediately got up and went after the dejected Brahmin. Eventually, he found the Brahmin on the banks of the Jamuna and said, "Brahmin, Mahadev did not deceive you. It was my mistake. Some time ago, while I was bathing in the Jamuna, I found a Paraśamaṇi, but I figured I had no use for it, no need for it. So I buried it in the sands of the Jamuna. Come, Brahmin, I will find it and give it to you." See, I like this point. Usually people say that, oh, he threw it in a garbage dump, a garbage heap. And what I don't like about this is that there were no garbage heaps in Vrindavan then. So he buried it in the Jamuna sand. Come, Brahmin, I will find it and give it to you. Once you have that, this forest fire of poverty that is burning you up will be extinguished forever. Saying this, he searched for a while and found the gem where he had left it, gave it to the Brahmin, and went back to where he had been sitting. The Brahmin tested the gem and saw that it really was a touchstone. This gem is truly capable of turning iron into gold just by its touch. The Brahmin's delight knew no bounds. In his imagination, he became the master of vast opulence and began relishing the luxuries of heaven. But suddenly, another thought entered his mind and interrupted the giddy daydream he was having. The Brahmin thought, this is one of the rarest objects in the world. And now that I have it, I'm floating in an ocean of bliss. But how astonishing is it that this sannyasi, who's wearing nothing but torn strips of cloth, living on alms, dwelling under trees, knew how wondrous this object is, and yet was able to let go of it like it was just another rock? Who is this personality to whom a touchstone is insignificant, so trivial? He left it buried in the river sand and just forgot about it. A touchstone's riches could easily put sovereignty of the earth in the palm of one's hand. How astonishing this is! Surely this sannyasi is the master of some extraordinary gem, next to which sovereignty of the earth or heaven seems utterly negligible. If I surrender to him, he can let me know what great gem that is. Overwhelmed with such thoughts, the Brahmin went back to Sri Sanatana Goswami. He saw that the Goswami's serene face was shining brilliantly with the bliss of divine love as he sang Krishna's name. Understanding that this was his chance, the Brahmin clasped the sannyasi's feet to his chest and petitioned him ever so humbly, "O Master, whatever treasure you have that made you throw away even a touchstone as if it were a lump of rock, kindly give some of that treasure to me." Seeing the Brahmin's anguish, the Goswami's heart melted, and he mercifully said to the Brahmin, "If you really want to attain that great gem, then that touchstone you have, you cannot stay attached to it. Quickly go and throw it into the Jamuna and come back." The Brahmin followed his order with a resolute heart. Srila Sanatan saw that he was worthy and bestowed Krishna mantra upon that Brahmin. The Brahmin became overwhelmed with the bliss of prem and was delivered forever from all the sorrows of the world. Haribo! Have we been able to extract some essential teaching from this story? Though the Brahmin Jivan truly did come into possession of a touchstone, why did he let go of it? He did not really gain anything more valuable. So was he just deluded? If we think about this somewhat deeply and discuss the matter, we will be able to understand that the Brahmin Jivan did what a truly intelligent person would do. Jivan could have alleviated his financial difficulties in this mundane world, but he had no control over birth, death, old age, disease, and grief in this life or the next. And there is no certainty that a Paraśamaṇi will stay in the possession of a person all his life. Dacoits or anyone stronger than him can steal it at any time. Therefore, there is no chance that such an object can relieve us completely of sorrow. We can think of the tale of the Shamantaka gem in this regard. The Brahmin Jivan thought deeply about all these variables and surrendered at the feet of the penniless sannyasi Sri Sanatana Goswami. By the grace of Sadhu and Guru, his eternal identity was revealed, and he gradually became situated in service to Krishna and attained supreme peace, supreme bliss. Real association of a sadhu is millions of times more valuable than a touchstone that begets gold. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastrikoi, Lava Matra, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hai. Srila Sanatana Goswami Pade Ki Jai.
That was so beautiful hearing the story in so much detail like that, and like just the teachings. Usually whenever we hear it, it's just like kind of like a 2-minute quick thing, or like, but this is
Yeah.
so wonderful.
Yeah, no details.
Yeah.
So the next one is Phalgu Vairagya. No, Phalgu or Yukta Vairagya, not just Phalgu Vairagya. And this is picking up from where it was talking about 3 levels of renunciation described in Gita. The tamasic renunciation, which is done for, let me just see. Tamasic renunciation. Describe So those who renounce their nitya dharma, those who renounce the things that we all have to do as human beings, they're tamasic. You're just living on the side of the road as a, smoking ganja all day. This is kind of tamasic renunciation. Rajasic renunciation is those who give up their eternal duties out of fear, because they know such duties are difficult. It's too difficult to be a grihasta. I'm going to go take sannyas. This could be a form of rajasic renunciation. So now it is describing sattvic renunciation from Gita. Karyam ityeva yat karma niyatam kriyate arjuna sangam tyakta phalanchaiva satyaga sattviko mataha. In other words, one who does his prescribed duties and relinquishes attachment to those activities and their results engages in sattvika renunciation. So renouncing you do your duties, but you renounce the fruits of them. That is sattvic. Sri Rupapad has said, Prapanchikataya buddhya hari sambandhi vastuna mumukshubhihi parityago vairagyam halgu khatyate. Shri Hari Sevaya Jaha Anukul Vishaya Buliya Tyagi Hoy Bhul. The purport of these verses is that all the objects of the world are connected to Sri Hari. Sri Krishna is the sole enjoyer. Every object is to be enjoyed by him. Every living entity is the eternal servant of Krishna. Therefore, at every moment, with all one's senses, considering what is favorable and what is unfavorable, one must reject what is unfavorable and expertly utilize all that is favorable in Sri Krishna's service. This is the sole duty of every servant of Krishna, every living entity. The Gyanis who hanker for liberation give up all these objects, thinking them to be mundane or false and illusory. This sort of renunciation is phalgu, or dry renunciation. Phalgu vairagiraman sada shushka rasahin nam rupa guna lila na hoy samichin. The false renunciate's mind is always dry, bereft of rus. He does not discover the appeal of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Srila Rupa has defined the term yukta vairagya thus: anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjita nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate. Asakti rahit sambandha sahit vishaya samuha sakali madhav. That's from Dushtamanatumi by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The purport of this is that becoming firmly established in Sambandha Gyan and accepting sense objects without detachment, and as one requires, is called Yukta Vairagya. When by the grace of a bona fide guru, as the jiva realizes the identity of his soul, then Manasa deho geho jo kichu mora harpilo tuapade Nanda Kishora. Mind, body, home, all that is mine, I offer at your feet, O son of Nanda. Amara bolite Prabhu, ar kichu nai. Tumi amara matra pita bandhu bhai. I have nothing left to call my own. You are my only father, friend, and brother. Dhana jana griha dwara tomara boliya. Raksha karyami matra sevaka hai. Wealth, followers, home, door are yours. I guard them only as a servant. How did you translate that? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but yeah, it came up somewhere else also, and I highlighted it. I did see in the dictionary for dwar, one thing was it said means. I'm not sure.
Oh,
but I don't know. That was like there was many words, and that was just one of the words at the end. So I'm not sure. I have no idea.
I kind of like it. It's like Krishna. My door is also yours. Come in.
Yes. Yes.
Tomar karyaratare uparji bodhana tomara sangsara vyay karibo vahan. For your works, I will earn wealth. I will carry the expense of your household. Bhalamand nahi jani seva matra kari, tomara sangsarayami vishaya prahari. I do not know good or bad. I only know service. I am just a guardian of your property. In this way, when bhav mood turns into swabhav, nature, then there remains no engagement other than the constant service of Krishna. Sriman Mahaprabhu's eternal associate, Srila Jagadananda Thakur, has cautioned us in the following verses so that we do not make a mistake in understanding the meaning of yatha yogya, as one deserves or requires. Yatha yogya e shabda dutira marmartha bujileho, kapatartha laya jena deharami naho. You guys didn't hear that?
Nope, it's really good noise suppression. Didn't hear it at all.
Wow. It's like I'm like literally next to a highway. Shuddha bhakti ranukula karoyangikar, Shuddha bhakti pratikula karoya svikar, dehayatra upayogi nitanta prayojan, Vishaya svikar kari karo dehara rakshan. Understand what yatha yogya means. If you are deceitful in how you understand these two words, you can become indulgent and lazy. Accept what is favorable for pure devotion. Reject what is unfavorable. Take only what you really need to survive. Accept the objects of the senses as far as you need in order to maintain your body. In this context, if we consult the lives of Sriman Mahaprabhu's associates, we will find even more clarity on this matter. With our external perception, we find two types of examples among Sriman Mahaprabhu's devotees. On one side, you have Thakur Haridas, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Srila Sanatan Goswami, etc. And on the other hand, you have Śrīvāsa Acharya, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Sri Rai Ramananda. All of them possess matchless vairagya. Thakur Haridas used to live in a small secluded cave and chant 3 lakhs of Harinam every day. He would maintain his life by begging alms from the homes of Brahmins. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami and Sri Purushottam Kshetra, day and night, he performed Nam Sankirtan and never left the Lord's feet for even a moment. His renunciation was extreme. He had nothing to eat or wear. He survived on whatever little he came by. 4 hours into the night, he would go to see the Pushpanjali ceremony. Then he would stand at the lion gate for some alms. If someone gave him something, then he ate. Sometimes he fasted. Sometimes he ate. Infinite are Raghunath's glories. Who will write of them? His vows were like lines in stone. 7.5 prahars out of 8 he spent in kirtan and smaran. Then on some days, for the last remaining 4 dandas, he ate or slept. The tale of his renunciation is extraordinary. All his life, he never allowed his tongue sense gratification, and all he wore was some torn cloth and a patchwork quilt. Elsewhere we see whatever prasad rice did not sell would rot after 2 or 3 days. So they would dump that rice in front of the cows at the lion gate. The Tailangi cows could not eat the smelly, rotten rice. Raghunath would take that rice home, wash it with a lot of water at home, and whatever kernels of rice was left, whatever kernels he was left with after the profuse rinsing, he would eat with salt. Srila Sanatan Goswami dwelled at the bases of trees and would not spend more than a single night below any one tree. Eka briksher tale, eka ratri shayan. Vipragrihe stula bhiksha kabu madhukare. Sometimes they had full meals at the homes of Brahmins. Otherwise, they subsisted on small amounts of alms. They lived on dried rotis and dried chickpeas. All they carried was a water pot in hand and some torn fabric to cover themselves. You know, it just occurring to me that this is perhaps not a proper translation. Stool diksha might have mean they just got like received dry grains.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
Throughout the 8 periods of the day, they spoke of Krishna, chanted Krishna's name, and danced exuberantly. They only spent 4 dandas maximum in eating and sleeping, and some days they did not make time for even that. On the other side, you have the enactment of household life by Śrīvāsa Acharya, in which you see the example of Sri Bhagavan tending to all the needs of a one-pointed devotee. Acharya Śrīvāsa had a large family, but he did not want to go begging at anyone's door to maintain his livelihood. He had firm conviction that whatever he was destined to have, he would come by somehow or other. His vow was that if he fasted for 3 days and still did not come by any food, then he would weight himself down and jump into the Ganga rather than beg at anyone's door. Hearing this, Sriman Mahaprabhu said, even if Lakshmi Devi has to go begging, there will never be poverty in Śrīvāsa's home. He recounted the promise of Gita and said, Je je jane chinte more ananya haya tare bhakshade mui mathai vahiyam. Je more chinte nahi jaye karo dwar apane asya sarva siddhi mile tare. For one who meditates on me exclusively, I fetch for him whatever he needs to eat and carry it on my head to deliver it to him. One who thinks only of me and does not go to anyone's door finds that all he needs comes to him of its own accord. I thought that was interesting. I never heard that detail, that it was because Śrīvāsa Thakur didn't want to beg. He would rather die than beg.
Yeah. Yeah, that is very interesting.
Twist.
I think because he was a grahastha.
Mm-hmm.
Grahasthas are not supposed to beg, right?
Right. So either he had to get a job or stay absorbed in Krishna Kirtan 24/7.
And in the Śrīvāsa Thakur Kirtan Saptadipa, it says Krishna Kirtan, what is it? Jar, no, yeah. Krishna Kirtan Jar
Kaj, yeah.
His only work was Krishna Kirtan.
Full-time employment. Okay, so I thought there wasn't another section of this. I'm pretty sure this is the last section of this Vallabh Digvijay. Just to recap, this is an ancestor of Vallabhacharya, and he was doing a yagya. He's very pakka Brahmin. He received initiation from Vishnu Swami, head of the Rudra Sampradaya, and he was doing the Som Yagya, the culmination of his yagyas that he would do throughout the year, and in a very blissful state. And as he offered the final ahuti into the fire, lo and behold, within the flames, he had darshan of Yagya Narayan. And he began offering beautiful prayers to Narayan. And then this is carrying on from there. Vallabha Digvijay. Thereafter, Bhagavan, who is the personification of affection for his devotees, was overcome with love and accepted his devotees' humble worship. Having received the Lord's mercy, Yagya Narayan is also the name of the Brahman. However, having received the Lord's mercy, Yagya Narayan had given up all material desires. So when he did not ask for anything, Bhagavan himself said, your desires have been fulfilled. To broadcast the enormity of your pristine glory, after the performance of 100 Soma Yagas, I will appear in your dynasty to safeguard true religion. Having lovingly bestowed this boon, Bhagavan disappeared from the fire. This story was recorded by the exalted personality himself at the end of a book he wrote entitled Satkriya. He writes, Bhagavan Sri Hari's every limb is wrought from mantra, Ritvik, Yajaman, Devata, Kal, and Yagya. In other words, these are his limbs. So the mantras that you recite during the Yagya, the Ritvik and the Yajaman are specific priests of different functions during the Yagya. Devatas, the deities or the demigods, Kala, time, and Yagya, the sacrifice itself. It was this Lord Sri Hari who appeared before my eyes. For the pleasure of the salaried workers of this Yagya, I offer this, the explanation of my own household codex, which is comprised of ancient Vedic tradition at the Lord's lotus feet.
What's
This
codex
Yagya
mean?
Narayana, it's like a compiled code, like kind of like Archana, like a paddhati, a coded,
Got it.
concise paddhati.
Mhm.
This Yagya Narayan had a son named Gangadhar, who was also a Soma priest. This son was endowed with all auspicious, magnanimous qualities. He had unequaled excellence or expertise in all branches of learning and studied the Vedas and Vedanta as ordained by tradition. From a scriptural perspective, he was Trinayana, three-eyed. The water means he was like very knowledgeable. The water offered lovingly to wash the lotus feet of Sri Hari. His heart, which was deeply, lovingly attached to the Lord, and his repeated performance of yajna have purified his being. And it says to be continued, but I haven't seen it yet. And this is to the residents of the Dhāma. I just need to quickly check. I think someone's come. I might need to open the gate or something.
Okay.
You could start reading if you want, but I should be back in a second.
Okay. And it looks like the Mayapur, what is it called? The Mayapur Chandra something Udoy. It seems like that's finished now, huh? Yeah, I think Śrīvāsa mentioned that in the previous reading.
Oh, okay.
Śrīvāsa, now you mentioned before, right? The Mayapur, what is it called? Mayapur Chandra Udoy. What was it called? Purna Chandra Udoy or something like that.
Mayapur
That
Purna
is,
Chandra.
so that was finished like that. The last one was in the previous session. But then you said that it's going to start again from after he took sannyas, right?
Yeah, and then it's titled Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
But that will start in a later issue, right? Not we won't have that today, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the next one, but it'll start soon.
Okay.
So this is to the residents of the Dham, where Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Chaitanya, who is non-different from Brajendra Nandan, appeared. That Navadvip is not a mundane place, an ordinary part of the material world, fit to be enjoyed by jivas. It is eternal, pure, fully liberated, and non-different from Sri Dham Vrindavan. Only exalted personalities who have transcendental perception, who know Dham Tattva, and are adept in bhajan, perceive the transcendence of each and every particle of the Dham's dust, and roll in that dust, crying out, Ha Gaur, Ha Nityananda, in ecstatic anguish. Even very stone-hearted persons cannot restrain their tears when they witness their piteous weeping. But alas, how many hundreds of thousands of times harder are our hearts? We have the audacity to say we are Nadīyā Vasis, indigenous residents of that transcendental abode. Yet the piteous crying of these exalted souls does not melt our hearts in the slightest. Instead, their expressions of divine love, rising as the 8 ecstatic symptoms, simply cause us to laugh. How glorious is our residence in the Dham. Not knowing Dham Tattva, making offenses at the feet of genuine Dhamvasis, every day we proceed along a path to some fearsome hell, but we do not even once think of that or see what is happening. recalling the ancient glory of a Nadīyā that was swept up in the flood of Harinam Sankirtan during Mahaprabhu's manifest presence, and seeing the present so-called residents of Nadīyā, we, the shame of Nadīyā, seeing our deplorable state and overcome with worry due to it, those exalted souls are weeping profusely. We are heartless, deaf, absorbed in petty village affairs, acting like evil witches in regard to money, bereft of our connection to Krishna, jealous of others' success, and lacking good fortune. Will their anguish message not resonate even a little in our hearts? The Hari Kirtan averse Mayavadis, sophists, their students, and various Pashandi miscreants once opposed that Kirtan, but ultimately became maddened in the bliss of it. Humans young, old, and in between, as well as animals, birds, insects, and worms from the oceans to the Himalayas were swept away in the flood of that Sankirtan. Gaur Sundar gave everyone equal qualification to participate in that Kirtan, regardless of high or low social status, regardless of one's caste or station in life, regardless of whether one was poor or rich, a king or a citizen. Today, we Nadiyavasis have no enthusiasm for that Hari Sankirtan. We are all preoccupied with our bodies and minds, engaged in following the evil directives of lust, anger, greed, arrogance, and envy. Rather than trying to perform Kirtan of Krishna and topics related to Krishna, we are obsessed with trying to enjoy Krishna and his relations. We are engrossed in enjoying the Dhāma rather than serving it. Fie on our residence in the Dhāma. Fie on it 100 times. The exalted souls do not even see the Shrapacha, dog-eater tribes who live in the Dhāma as Shrapacha, and instead honor them as native inhabitants of the transcendental Dhāma. They beg alms from their homes. Shrapacha grihete magiya khaibo, pibo saraswati jala. They beg alms from their homes. Uddhav and other devotees offer prostrated obeisance to the trees, creepers, and shrubs of the Dhāma. In the vision of these exalted souls, the animals, birds, insects, and worms of the Dhāma give up their mutual animosity and are engaged in Krishna Kirtan. We, the so-called residents of the Dhāma, however, are constantly compelled by envy, unable to tolerate the happiness of others. We have taken falsity to be truth and risen up to propagate the falsehood. Failing to serve the truth ourselves, we are killing our souls and at the same time turning others away from the truth, implicating ourselves in a fearsome, violent, and animalistic cycle of behavior. Who knows what fearsome, dreadful fate awaits on the other side of the veil of our lives, or even within these very lives. Transgressing the path of the Mahajans creates such enormous impediments that are even beyond man's capacity to imagine. There is only one recourse. Even now we have a chance. We must relinquish all deceit and offer our souls at Nityananda's lotus feet with utter simplicity. We must verbally acknowledge all of the offenses we have committed and vow never to commit them again. We must then pray for forgiveness. If we do that, then the Lord of Mercy, Nityananda, will kindly pull us to his fearless lotus feet. Otherwise, we will sink into the ocean of endless anarthas and achieve nothing but the everlasting ruin of our souls. So beware, saintly persons.
Oh. That was quite a heavy article, but amazing. Oh, Manjari just raised her hand. Manjari, yes.
Oh, okay.
I just love this point. This is really nice. So who wrote this article, or is this one? It's the unnamed one, and is this during? Who was the editor at this time? This is Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj was the editor.
Yes. Yeah.
So what I love here is the modeling for everyone else. He's giving the readers the adhikar to learn how to beg forgiveness and to receive forgiveness, the steps that it requires, and also by the same token, showing us what this genuine symptoms are of someone who's worthy of forgiveness. So very, very important for the individual progressing on the path of bhakti towards Trinadapi Sunichena, which will never happen if we don't go through these steps he's just mentioned, and also for the Samaj, Vaishnav Samaj, for the community to be an ideal community as our acharyas envisioned and instructed whenever they have established temples or communities. So yeah, intense but very sweet there at the end, giving these steps. So recognition and acknowledgement of one's actions, and then begging forgiveness, that sincerity of heart, and then taking the proper actions. It's very beautiful.
Step by step, like that. Thank you for actually drawing more focus to that. I was more focused just on the kind of bluster of the article, but yeah, you honed in on the way. Yeah, he's begging forgiveness, acknowledging, taking himself to account
Publicly, not secretly in some hidden, going secretly so nobody will know, but publicly expressing his mistaken conception or activities or whatever. And so modeling the, what's it called, that when you're candid, just very candid and honest. So making mistakes isn't a crime, but duplicity is. Duplicity will cheat us of bhakti and be just this endless spiral of aparad. But making a mistake is not a problem here if we can learn how to be humble and ask forgiveness.
Thank you, Didi.
Thank you for this opportunity to remember everything.
I really like the vision of the pure devotee. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just the vision of the pure devotee of the Dham. And like, it was even the insects and worms are swept away in the bliss of Sankirtan.
And they're all getting along and chanting kirtan. They're not fighting. The monkeys aren't fighting.
Yeah, that was really wonderful.
And on that sweet note, we transition to the news. Nana Kata, which might be, we never know, it might be absolutely hair-raising, some of these. So we'll see. I didn't review them before, so I can't give you a rating. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, some days it's like really heavy duty and like disturbing, and then other days it's
Very
not
mild.
as bad. Yeah.
Dr. Nana Kata, various topics. Dr. Kashtukuli Shankaracharya, who has just recently initiated Miss Miller into Hindu religion, says 2 centuries prior to the birth of Christ, a Greek gentleman named Heliodorus adopted Hindu Dharma and referred to himself as a bhakta. He had constructed a Garuda Dwaja temple. It is possible that this bhakta was a disciple of a sannyasi in the Tridandi Vishnuswami Sampradaya and had thus become a Sampradayak Vaishnava. There is need for special research and discussion in regard to this. Perhaps this may surprise those who pay no heed to actual history and say that Vaishnava Dharma originated from Christianity. When Sarvagya Vishnuswami was standing in opposition of Buddhism and busying himself with enlarging the propagation of Vaishnava Dharma, it was roughly 250 years prior to the birth of the hero of Jerusalem. This was 250 years prior to Christ. By the power of Bhakti Yoga, Jesus gleaned the ancient memory of the Dharma Vishnuswami had taught. It is through Jesus' followers, however, that various corruptions of these traditions were given the opportunity to spread throughout Western countries.
Whoa. That's so interesting.
It's such an important perspective to put forward.
Mm-hmm. These are, there's a, I think it's in Madhya Pradesh, there's a temple complex they've unearthed, and you can look it up, the Heliodorus column, and there's an inscription in Greek, and he says, I am a Bhagavat, such and such, a follower of, And then the temple is really interesting. There's a Garuda Stamba, but then there's other pillars seemingly related to the Chaturvyuha, if I remember correctly. I want to do an article on this. Yeah, it's an interesting topic.
So there's a lot
That's
of influence of Vishnu Swami though in in the original Christianity, like in Jesus Christ, huh?
say that again, Madhukar.
No, it just from this it seems like there's some in like pure Christianity, there's a lot of influence from Vishnu Swami. So what was the guy's name called? Śrīvāsa?
Yeah, this was Heliodorus was prior to Christianity, and then he was a Greek, and then 250 years later, then Christ was born. But it's, I mean, it
This
goes
is by the
to
Bhakti Yoga, yeah.
whether we think about Jesus possibly coming to India before his crucifixion, before and after. Some people say that afterwards he also returned to India, to Kashmir. But I guess before the crucifixion, when he visited India, the Vaishnavas that he would have encountered then would have likely been prominently connected to the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. I think that was, I mean, that's just a guess though.
I just wanted to make a quick comment. I like how he emphasizes that there should be further research on this topic or related topics, because these things are important, although perhaps peripheral, but important for preaching. And secondly, that there was a lot of Greek immigration into India in those times, before Jesus's time and a little less after, but in Mathura, their style, like they became so integrated. I forget the name now, but there was a prominent even intermarriages, and they really did assimilate into the local population, even so far into India as Mathura. And the influence of their sculpture, there's a whole field of study on it, Indo-Grecan sculpture and art, and it's fascinating. So yeah, it's important. It's important to know your history.
Yeah,
Very
history
interesting.
is fascinating. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Jesus would have encountered Vishnu Swami followers, because Vishnu Swami is in Kali Yuga, he's the oldest of the four acharyas. Madhvacharya comes last, and then I think it's Nimbaditya and Ramanuja, and then Madhva. That's first Vishnu Swami.
Okay. And the time period that this time when this is like the British were very aggressively, like their missionaries were aggressively converting people to Christianity at this time also, right? So this is like pushback against that.
Yeah. I think there's something a bit more specific about that issue, the Christian Hindu issue, in another one of these. All right, moving on. News has arrived from Kurukshetra Shri Vyas Gaudiya Mutt that the building for Shri Vyas Gaudiya Mutt needs to be built before this upcoming Kartik month. All the inhabitants of the area are eager to have the Mutt building completed very soon. Our request is that the acting members of Shri Vishwa Vaishnav Raj Sabha engage special efforts in fulfilling this ambition. There is an elevated area near Brahmasar that belongs to the Gujjarwala Mahant. He has proposed to give that site for the construction of Shri Vyas Gaudiya Mutt. Another person, a Sardar Sahib from Punjab, is ready to provide land close to Gita Bhavan. One generous Delhi native has also promised to come in a week's time and donate a plot for a Rishikul, a school. Therefore, there should not be any delay in making arrangements to swiftly build a mutt there. The gopis once manifested Vipralamba Leela, pastimes of separation, at the nearby lake. And readers may recall description of how Shri Gaur Sundar, following the mood of the gopis, reiterated the expression of that pastime while living in Nilachal. The renowned national hero, Shriyukta Madan Mohan Malabhya, wrote the Sampadak Mahashaya of the Gaudiya Mutt the following letter from Delhi on February 29th. I would like to convey my thanks for all the Gaudiya Math papers that have been sent to me. I am supremely satisfied to see the systematic and formal approach you are taking to the dissemination of Bhagavad Bhakti. May your ambitions quickly be fulfilled. That is my prayer. Yours sincerely, Shri Madan Mohan Malabhya. On March 12th, in the early morning, a terrible fire broke out in Rangoon's Kotatanga. 2 wood mills, 1 engineering factory, and 4 homes were burnt in the blaze. One of the homes was partially saved. Reports state that losses are estimated at 1.5 lakh. Reports from Begura, March 11th, state that there was a meeting of Hindus and Muslims at El Tafanesa Park under the chairmanship of Sri Vaidyanatha Sanyal Mahashai. The proposal of the boycott of British goods was accepted at the meeting. There are reports of 2 dreadful earthquakes occurring at a place called Nibandan in the Sistan region of Iran. Thousands of homes have been mostly destroyed. Many people had stayed awake at night in observance of Ramadan. That is why not so many people were killed. Only 4 people died and 1 suffered life-threatening injuries. The inhabitants are currently terrified and living outside the city. News of 6 alarming deaths has come from Muzaffarpur in reports from March 8th. Okay, this is harrowing. Be warned. A family's 3 children were playing in Kalyani. Childish foolishness led them to enclose themselves in a wooden box in a sawmill go-down. What happened was that one of the 3 children had already thrown a lit match into the box. In a moment, the box caught fire. One of the children died on the spot. The other 2 were rushed to hospital and died there. The 4th death occurred due to falling from the roof of a building. The 5th was due to being run over by a car, and the 6th due to being gored by a bull. So just like a whole lot of death. Last Tuesday, a Nepali running through, okay, this is also R-rated, just like if you have small children, don't. Last Tuesday morning, a Nepali was running through Park Street with a blood-soaked kukri knife in hand. Another Nepali with blood gushing from his hand was running after him. Seeing them running, a crowd quickly gathered. The Nepali clutching the kukri was grappled by a beat constable as he turned the corner of Wellesley Street, and the injured Nepali was sent to hospital for treatment. Police investigation revealed that the injured man's name is Saptavir, and he is a gatekeeper at the home of a gentleman on Park Street. And the assailant's name is Kharag Bahadur Singh. That's funny because Kharag means axe. The 2 had some conflict over a woman. On the day of the incident, Kharag Bahadur went to great difficulty to enter Saptavir's home and slashed his arm while he was sleeping. Police are still investigating further. Okay, not so serious, but kind of gory. On March 13th, during the assembly of the Indian Planning Council, Pandit Motilal Nehru had brought a proposal to reject the government's expense claim for the Simon Commission. In this context, Pandit Motilal stated that on February 18th, they had expressed their opposition to the commission's appointment. After expressing dissatisfaction with the commission, there is no point in telling the council to bear the commission's expenses. I want to capitalize that.
Yes, could you remind us what the Simons Commission was again? I remember you mentioned.
I researched this exactly, the details of it, but if there was these several, like I think members of Parliament, British Parliament, they were elected to go and survey India, survey the situation, maybe the political situation, the economic situation, and then report back to the British government. I forget what their exact objective was or proposal was. You can look it up. Simon Commission. There's a whole article about it.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, sorry, I should have read up on that. Everyone should reject this expense to save the dignity of the council. Pandit Motilal's proposal for rejecting expenses was accepted with 66 votes in favor and 59 against. The result of the vote was announced amid jubilant cheers in the assembly. In Bardhaman district, Sultanpur, The renowned iron businessman Sri Tulsidas Kumar has spent over 1 lakh on charitable hospitals, schools, boarding houses, and roads from Devipur station, among other projects. As part of the assistance plan for Rajbandi warehouse, on March 21st, there will be a theater performance titled Chandragupta at the University Institute Hall. Additionally, there will be arrangements for other song and dance-related cultural events. On Saturday, March 25th at 6 p.m., several highly educated women will perform a drama entitled Gita at the Empire Theater. Proceeds from ticket sales will go toward the purchase of a bus for the women's school. The 15th annual assembly of the Medinipur branch of the Literary Society will take place on March 10th and 11th. Dr. Naresh Chandra Sen Gupta has been elected as the president. On the premises of the Indian Planning Commission, a representative of the Hindustan Times threw a suitcase at Sir Basil Blanket. I'm not sure if that's properly his name. The accused has been fined 200 rupees and is to undergo 3 months of hard labor. On March 4th, a sergeant named Sheikh Manjil was hit by a felled banyan and fell in the river where he drowned. On March 13th, during the coroner's court hearing, Mr. B. Swinhoe deliberated the case with the jury. After considering the testimonies of a doctor and a boatman, the jury decided that the death occurred due to an accidental drowning. On April 13th and 14th, there will be an assembly of the Maiman Singh Bengal Regional Hindu Summit. On March 13th, at a place called Gangapur on the banks of the Godavari River, about 5 miles from Nashik, the Sri Shankaracharya of Kabir Peeth initiated Miss Miller into Hinduism. It seems that she has embraced Hinduism out of great love and respect for the religion. Since childhood, she has had faith in Hinduism, and she has studied Hindu philosophy formally in university in America. Her current name is Srimati Sharmishta Devi. Madras's newly appointed law minister, Sri Yukta Venkataram Shastri, has sent a notice of resignation in protest of authority over the police department being taken out of his hands. In Vrindavan, a marriage arrangement has been dissolved. An arrangement was made between a young woman and a man. This man's hands were both crippled. The man was very clever in concealing his condition and tricked the girl's father. When, during the marriage ceremony, as per the prevailing tradition, the bride's father went to place a coconut into the groom's hand, he saw that his to-be son-in-law did not want to take the coconut. So the bride's father became doubtful and covered the man's hands, revealing his condition. The bride's father was furious and gave his daughter in marriage to another youth. It may be that the crippled man has filed a case against the bride's father. Awkward.
What a weird story.
Take the coconut. I don't want to take the coconut. This last Tuesday afternoon, agents of the Crime Investigation Department, CID, received a tip that a gang of dacoits was traveling to Bardhaman, so they arrested 6 individuals on platform number 10 at Howrah station. Of the men arrested, 3 are Marwari. Kukri knives and daggers were found on their person. The conference of the Bengal College and University Teachers Association, which had been postponed for a while, is now scheduled to be held in Barisal on March 23rd and 24th. The Rajshahi magistrate has issued a notice to all the Hindu and Muslim leaders who signed the strike application on March 3rd to disprove allegations against them. It is also heard that a probe will be initiated against the weekly Bengali periodical Hindu Ranjika by the commission. Naukhali's renowned attorney, Shriyukta Ranjanikant Aika, has donated 10,000 rupees to an English school and a girls' school in his hometown of Chaupali. He wants to name the English school after his father and the girls' school after his mother. On March 12th, the annual celebration of the Kati National School, presided over by Dr. Pratap Chandra Guharai, concluded with a grand ceremony where 72 students showcased their skill in spinning cotton by hand. A prominent businessman from Rori city in Hyderabad has been missing for almost 10 days. Despite police investigation, no trace of him has been found. This has caused significant concern among the local community. On March 11th, a new branch of the Nari Mangal Samiti, Women's Welfare Committee, was established at Beliagat. The non-cooperation movement started on the day of Janmashtami on August 31st, 1926, in Putiakhali, Barsal. The movement has made steady progress for almost 19 months, with over 2,000 Hindu youth being arrested for participating. Hindus have collectively paid over 20 lakh rupees in punitive taxes. Charges as per Section 107 have been filed against the non-cooperation leader Satindranath Singh. The High Court ordered him to furnish 2 bail bonds of 250 rupees each or face imprisonment for a year. After consultation with his co-workers, Satindra Babu saw fit to pay the bails and did so, but no reason has been given for why administrators have still initiated proceedings for his imprisonment. He paid the bill and still they're going to throw him in jail. A man named Kala has been sentenced by the lower court to life imprisonment in Andaman for killing a man named Purana Chanda during the May 14th Lahore riots. On appeal, the High Court has imposed the death penalty on him. Okay, you're going to appeal instead of just imprisoning you for life. We're going to sentence you to death. Interesting.
Manjari is raising her hand.
Ah, yes. Yes, Didi.
Oh, sorry. I was just reflecting how interesting it is. One of the benefits of including these kind of news items in the devotional newspaper is that you're giving the opportunity for people to not need to get sucked into any other media source or network, so that you can learn the essential information without being contaminated or drawn into all the other aspects that are present in the other. And I think it's just a millionfold worse nowadays with all the new technology and kinds of media there is. So it's interesting to think of if we could provide this kind of seva as they were doing in those days with this newspaper, if we could provide this kind of seva where there's film, media, news, music, or whatever, but within the context of a devotional media outlet. So you could, it would help people to unplug from pretty damaging and contaminating other news and media outlets. At least it's just something I was thinking about, because I think a lot of people do struggle with that nowadays. They want to be informed, or they want to be connected, or want to be updated on things, but one thing leads to another, and it's hard to have one without the other.
Yeah, that's. Oh, you're speaking to my heart, sister. That's the dream. Yeah, and I mean, I'm seeing more and more that it's very possible. Publishing is getting easier and easier. We just need actually a pretty small core team, and summarize the news from certain trusted sources, and kind of curate it in a like here they're selecting certain articles, and
it's so brief too. It's just really
like the essential,
matter of fact and brief and essential. Yes.
Yeah. Dainika Nadīyā Prakāśa reboot coming soon.
Jai ho.
And then there's also the health section. I don't think we've seen this so far. This is interesting. Transforming your health. Nowadays, almost everyone in Bangladesh faces some form of health issue. Aside from the hardships everyone else faces, the poor do not have access to the same medical facilities, and they have to live in places without proper drinking water that are full of malaria and other diseases. Where are they going to find the money to go somewhere healthy and restore their health? They do not have change to feed themselves twice a day. The rich spend so much money going here and there in hopes of regaining their health, often trying to take care of their health. They end up in places that, far from helping their health, actually cause them more health problems. For instance, a patient suffering from a stomach ailment might go to Puri to find relief, but the conditions there might exacerbate the issue, and she will end up complaining about Puri. But most people don't know that Puri is not at all helpful for people with stomach issues. Puri, with the powerful breezes from the ocean, provides relief for conditions like asthma, pneumonia, tuberculosis, etc. I definitely noticed that. I cannot eat properly, digest properly in Puri. I feel this.
Yeah, I actually used to
On
have
the-
that also. Whenever I'd first go to Puri, I'd feel sick. Then I got used to it. My body got used to it. But in the beginning, yeah, it's true.
A very strong vata there. On the way to Puri, the next station after Cuttack is Bhubaneswar, where many people are going these days to transform their health. Everyone who has gone there to change their health swears that it is the best place in the area to do so. However, the number of homes is limited. Many times people have gone there and couldn't find vacancies and have had to return home. If you write ahead to someone you know there or to the local postmaster to reserve a room, then you won't have to face such inconvenience. Those new to the area without local experience often rent homes overlooking the Bindu Sarovar. These homes, however, may be unhealthy due to their proximity to the lake. It is best not to take accommodations there. Those dealing with constipation should take water from Kedar Kund, and those who have dysentery and other similar stomach issues should drink water from the Ramakrishna Mutt. Patients benefit greatly from visiting these places without facing dietary restrictions or excesses. We have informed the general public of what we know. No doubt it will be helpful to numerous people seeking to better their health. So that's their health and wellness column of the Dainika Nadīyā Prakāśa.
Very specific instructions.
My hand's
There's
raised.
Haribo.
Well, I was just reading some descriptions of the early days when the devotees first came to the west, to India, and many of the devotees couldn't stay here because they got sick. There was no bottled water back then. I remember when I came in '77, even the only thing you could get, and devotees started drinking limkas, so bottled water wasn't prevalent like it is today. So like Prabhupada asked devotees to send 50 devotees to come to India for preaching. And of those 50 devotees, many of them it couldn't stay very long and then went back. And also the temples there didn't have so many devotees, so they didn't send real strong devotees. They just sent devotees, and those devotees weren't so strong, and some of them even went back and then just gave up Krishna consciousness. But it's interesting that to understand that the history that goes back with health and coming to India, and et cetera, et cetera. This is very interesting. I'd also like to comment that when I traveled with Gurudev, even especially in Vrindavan, he would tell someone to go get him a newspaper. He read the newspaper every day. And when he went to the West, also he read the newspaper. But also we understand that the news has changed quite a bit, and then there's misinformation that's being propagated instead of it. But it was interesting how Gurudev wanted to keep abreast of what was going on in the world a little bit. But we can imagine his transcendental vision.
Thank you, Maharaj.
And Rukmini wrote some comments also. Anyhow, she said that pillar, Wikipedia has a reference dating with the pillar within 115 to 80 BCE. Interesting.
Okay.
All right. Interesting. All right, so I guess we'll just end with we'll do a little 1 minute kirtan, and Śrīvāsa can do Jaidvani, and then we'll end for today.
Okay.
Jai Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. And anybody who wants to see these articles that we're reading, you go to nadiyaprakāsh.com, NADIYAPRAKASH.com. And also, I highly recommend everybody go to Śrīvāsa's website, bigdrum.us, and you can subscribe to it. He's always translating all sorts of interesting things from our acharyas. And okay, yeah, that's it. All right, Śrīvāsa, would you like to do Jaidwani?
Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Shri Shri Radha Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju ki Jai. Jai Nitilila Prabhushtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitilila Prabhushtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Bhaman Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitilila Prabhushtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Trivikram Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitilila Prabhushtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitilila Prabhushtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitilila Prabhushtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitilila Prabhushtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitilila Prabhushtam Vishnupad Shri Srimad Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitilila Prabhushtam Vishnupad Bhakti Daik Madhav Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Saparashad Jai Guru Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. महाभागवत परवर श्री गौर किशोरदास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। सप्तम गोस्वामी सच्चिदानंद शिला भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। श्री गौरी वेदांताचार्य श्री बलदेव विद्याभूषण प्रभु की जय। श्री विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय। नरोत्तम श्रीनिवास श्यामानंद प्रभु त्रय की जय। श्री कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शर गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदराय रमनंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। नवदीप मायपुर धाम की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपी गो गोवर्धन द्वादश श्री ब्रजमंडल धाम की जय। राधा कुंज श्याम कुंज यमुना गंगा भक्ति तुलसी देवी की जय। श्री गिरिराज महाराज की जय। सर्व विघ्न विनाशंकारी श्री नृसिंह भगवान की जय। भक्त प्रवर श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। चारि धाम चारि आचार्य चारि संप्रदाय की जय। आकर मठराज श्री चैतन्य मठ की जय। दैनिक नदिया प्रकाश की जय। त्रिभुवन मंगल हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत जूम ऑनलाइन एसोसिएट भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल।
Hari Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Vancha kalpataruvishya kripa sindhubhyo vacha pranam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Gurudev's Pushpa Samadhi ki jai. Dandavat pranam. Oh, yeah. Say. Wait, what? Shiva's giving us darshan.
I'm taking on Parikrama.
Ah,
Where
Jai Ho.
is this? Where is this?
This is
Malaysia.
Kuala Lumpur.
Acha.
Gurudev's first Pushpa Samadhi. 2011. Jai Ho. All right. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Thank you so much. Jai Srila Gurudev ki jai. Hari Bol. All right, Dandavat pranams, everybody joining. Who's there? Let's see. 1 second. Let me just. I can't see it. Okay, now I can see. Dandavat pranams, Sarveshwari Mataji. Of course, Śrīvāsa Prabhu and Ashray Prabhu, Satya Mataji, Manjari Didi, Archana Didi, Sri Devi Didi, Balakishan, Manjari Didi, Champak Mataji, Anjali Didi, and on YouTube and Facebook, there's Amit Dandekar, Ganga Mataji, Krishna Premavati Didi, Vidyalalasa Didi, Rukmini Didi, and a bunch of other devotees who didn't write comments, so I don't know who you are, but Dandavat Pranams, everybody. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, and tomorrow, we might not be able to do we'll see. There's supposed to be a cyclone coming here. Cyclone Remal, I think that's what it's called. It's supposed to be coming later tonight. So it's very possible that all the power and everything will be knocked out for a while. So there's a chance I might not be able to go live for our Bhaktivinoda Giti Tara program tomorrow. But if the power is back, then we'll have the Bhaktivinoda Giti Tara program. And then the day after tomorrow it's the day for our Raise of the Harmonist session. I think we'll be reading an article by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. But it's also going to be Ramananda Rai's, Ramananda's disappearance date. So there is an article by our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I think he goes for the Raya Ramananda Samvad in Raise of the Harmonists. So I'm not sure. I haven't decided what we're going to do yet. We might read an article by Srila Prabhupada, or we might read an article by Srila Bhakti. I need to look at it all. But anyhow, yeah, if anybody wants to join that, that's day after tomorrow. And if you want to receive the article that we're going to read 24 hours before we start, go to raiseoftheharmonist.com and enter your email there. Today I'm going to make a ebook and prepare the article, and I'll send it out on that mailing list. All right. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.